Hi. Oh my gosh, how do I even start? Hello, I'm back. It feels very weird to be here, learning to talk to myself again in a camera. But welcome back to my YouTube. We're about to go ahead and get started. The focus of this video is really just gonna be a life update because it's been a long time, but let's get into the video. It's been almost a year, maybe longer, since I've done my last YouTube video. What video was that even? Let me even look. Oh wow, that's interesting. I still have subscribers subscribing, so that's really cool that y'all like have faith in me because I have been tragic. I don't want this to be super long. I want to get back into the YouTube space, and I also want to talk about the direction that I want to take my channel ultimately. But I think the biggest thing is really just trying to do a life recap as much as I can as far as what's happened in my life, because it's been so much transition over this last, even just couple months, but over this last year, my life has changed a ton. And then as I move forward, when it comes to making videos, if you guys ever ask or want to know or want me to expand on any aspects of that journey, I have no issue doing so. If you are new here, my name is Ariel Asia Offit. One big change, I finally changed my last name. And I always wanted to change my last name, but it literally took 3 years, simply because I always had like some big life thing happening when it came time to do the name change, and it just wasn't the most beneficial time, and we finally done it, so I'm super happy about that. My channel is called The Perfect Pursuit, and the focus of my channel is what it looks like pursuing Christ and him being perfect. Not that I'm perfect, not that anyone else is perfect, but Christ is perfect, and therefore pursuing Christ is what's perfect and ideal, and putting God first. The highlight scripture for my channel is Matthew 6:33, and it's really just about putting God first in all things, and then everything in your life kind of falls in line after that. And so as long as he's at the center of everything it is that you do, your life should be revolving around him. That is ideal in the eyes of God. So let's talk about what has happened. Let me think where to start. So around this time a year ago, I actually went to Trinidad and I did an outpatient pediatric rotation. And at this time I was heading into residency interview season. I got my headshots done. I was preparing my personal statement. Just gearing up to start interviewing for residency. For those that don't know, I did my medical school training at Michigan State University College of Human Medicine. So I did the MD program there, and that's a 4-year program. Ended up taking me 5 years in total to complete it because I ended up going on a medical leave of absence. I want to say I talked about that quite a bit in some of my other previous videos, but if you want me to expand on that, just feel free to ask. But yeah, I took a medical leave of absence for a few months, so that kind of prolonged my graduation time. But yeah, did my time at MSU CHM, and gearing up for residency season, going into my last final year of medical school. So anywho, August, September is me prepping my application for my residency programs. I applied pediatrics. And that's ultimately to be a pediatrician, a pediatric physician. So I'm a physician, I'm a doctor. So was applying to programs, and so around like October, November, December, January, it's pretty much residency interview season. You're interviewing for your first physician job. And so that was a really stressful process of dealing with a lot of imposter syndrome, of just kind of determining, you know, where do I fit, which program would be a good fit for me, how many interviews I'm going to get, you know, really stressful time because you're going through it yourself. You're hearing other people share their experience or how many interviews they're getting and what it is that they're going through, all these different things. And so that entire season, honestly, is just a lot of comparison and, you know, planning out your life. Where is it that we're gonna live? Where can we end up? We can end up anywhere, because I pretty much applied all over. So around October, by this time I probably had 2 interviews already, and I was going into my 3rd interview. I ended up finding out that I was pregnant, and during that time I had really mixed feelings about it. My husband was really excited. I had really mixed feelings about it because I knew that at that time, for one, we wasn't necessarily planning for it. But that's not what made me concerned. I'm married. I knew that I wanted to have kids. I struggled with the when part, and I think that in my mind I had it made up like, we could wait a little bit later. But I actually struggled with it more so because, again, me being very selfish, and I'm a person who likes to be in control of their life. I put that in quotes simply because I'm not actually in control. God is. Even when we think that we're the person in control, we're not actually the one in control.
No cap.
I knew that my due date would have been right at the start of residency. So for those that don't know, all residents start on July 1st every year. It's always July 1st. So my mind kind of started spiraling with all of these thoughts of who's gonna take the pregnant girl, you know, knowing that they will be starting their program, having a baby, or having to take time off and things like that. And so I was very in my head of just considering my career. I was afraid to get excited about being pregnant because I'm like, what if this is taken from me, or what if something happens with this? And I always felt pulled in that way, and it caused for me to struggle in my relationship with God because it made me question, like, man, do you want good things for me? Because if you want good things for me, why does it always have to seem like they have to be coupled with such detriment? And I struggle with the piece of, do I tell these programs that I'm pregnant? Are they going to judge me? And not necessarily wanting to deal with the scrutiny that may come from a pregnant girl interviewing to start residency when she's due right at the beginning. And to be clear, I did not share my pregnancy with any of the program directors or programs that I interviewed with. It felt very weird for me keeping that, because it felt like I was keeping this secret because I was ashamed, and I didn't like that feeling, and I would never do that again. Yeah, I ended up matching at USF, University of South Florida, in Tampa, Florida, the pediatric program, and I was super, super excited. Me and my husband were really excited to get to some warm weather. I've been talking about Florida for a long, long time and wanted to move and live here because I'm here now. I took a graduation trip with some of my friends. We went to the Dominican Republic. Punta Cana was such a great time, and I definitely needed it. And I was very much so pregnant, so I try to insert clips of that because we had so much fun, and I highly recommend taking a trip at the end of your 4th year. I graduated, you guys, from medical school. I know so much has happened. I'm just like, oh my gosh. So I officially have MD behind my name, and I'm going to fully be a pediatrician now that I'm in this training. Pediatric residency is 3 total years. I am considering doing a fellowship, which is just specializing. I'm considering HEMOC, that's on the list. I'm curious to see after 3 years when I look back and watch this video whether I decided to pursue it or not. I went through residency interview season. I went through match week, and I matched at an amazing program. I ended up graduating from Michigan State University College of Human Medicine. I moved to Tampa, Florida, and now I am here in Tampa, Florida, and as you can see, I am no longer pregnant because I had my baby girl. It was a baby girl, and her name is Celeste Lila Offit. And she is upstairs right now with my husband and my 2 dogs, and they're only upstairs right now because I'm recording this video. And most of the time our house is extremely chaotic, which I love. I love the noise. I love the craziness of it all. But yeah, she ended up being born here in Tampa, Florida at the hospital that I'm going to be working at. And now we've been here down in Tampa for about 7 weeks, and baby girl right now is about 6 weeks. So she ended up coming about 3 weeks early, actually. A week after we moved, I ended up having to get induced. I won't talk about my induction story, but if you want me to, comment down below because I can do a whole story time on the induction process and how great of an experience I had, actually. I'm currently on maternity leave. I'm on maternity leave pretty much all of July, upcoming August, which is, by the time you guys see this video, it will be August, but August I'll be doing what our program is called a parenting elective, where you have a different curriculum of different topics and things about being a new parent, which I also get to do from home. And I go into clinic for a half day once a week during the parenting elective, so it's also just very, very chill, and I'll basically still be with my baby mostly every day all of August, and then September 3rd I'll start my first rotation. I want to talk a little bit about my spiritual health at this point. I would say the space that I'm in with God right now, like, we're solid, I've definitely been really up and down in my relationship with God over the past year. Like I had mentioned, around this time last year, I was really struggling with accepting good things, because I remember around this time I like took step 2, and it was a struggle with that. But I think I was struggling so much with God that even when I got the score I wanted, I was too afraid to be excited about it, because I felt like something else would just happen. So why celebrate this? I remember before I went to Trinidad for the month of July, I was like, I want to be excited about having this opportunity, but I feel like my excitement is always coupled with something negative. So why get excited? So I really struggle with that a lot. I also feel like I was dealing with a lot of depression around that time. And I ended up starting a depression medication, and tried my best to get into counseling. That really didn't work out, but we'll get there. You're constantly going through that cycle, but I feel like me and God, we were together during that time. And by together, I mean by my choice, because, you know, God is always here. It's whether you choose to face toward him and engage and create intimacy with him, of whether or not the relationship is intact or not. But ultimately, I can say that also just having baby girl has created just so much, has really increased my faith. I think it's also increased my husband's faith as well, because there's just nothing that prepares you for being a parent. Let me round out the spirituality aspect. So ultimately, that's where I am in my relationship with you guys. My relationship with God, you guys, is really just rebuilding, relearning, regaining intimacy, learning all these different spaces, learning what it's like to be a mom. Also I'm also learning what it looks like to be a wife and a mom. I'm learning what it looks like to be a wife, a mom, and a physician. As I'm learning all of those things, it just requires something different of me in my relationship with God. And I want to take you guys on that journey with me. But I really value when people come and share where they are, right? Like in any aspect of their life. But for me personally, spiritually, when they're in the midst of something. And oftentimes I found that when I was making my videos before, I would be sharing after I went through something. And when I was going through things spiritually, or even if I was going through crazy times in my life, just other life happenings or life things, and it all is really spiritual. But even when I was going through other things, I would find that I wouldn't want to make YouTube videos, because I'm like, I'm not in a spiritual space to be doing this. I'm not a spiritual space to be telling people anything or guiding people anywhere or sharing whatever. But I think that the reality of it is, what's real is me being able to hop on here and just share my life. That's always how I valued being a disciple of Christ, is sharing my life with other people and doing life with other people. And because those are things that I value, that's definitely the direction that I want to take my YouTube page in. I have a love-hate relationship with social media. I love it because I love the reach and the access and the way in which you can connect with people, so much so in this avenue. But I also hate social media because I know that when a person goes to, for instance, my Instagram page, and this is not other people's, but if a person were to go to my Instagram page and look at my Instagram page, it's like, wow, look at all these perfectly curated posts. I want to be able to share the gospel of Christ as I do life with people here in this space. And by doing life, I want to be able to hop on here, and so I'll probably be getting a little bit more into vlogging, meaning like just kind of the day-to-day stuff of what it looks like, because I know sometimes people may want to know what it looks like to balance being a professional and a mom and a wife and ultimately a disciple of Christ, and how that structures all those different aspects of my life. And sometimes that's just me sharing my life, and I feel like that's something I'm good at, because if I can't do anything else, I can be who I am in Christ. So I ask that you bear with me. I ask that you give me feedback too. Like if there's things that you want to see more of, let me know, and I'm willing to show that. There will be some areas in which I may have some boundaries, just because I don't want this to consume my life or my family's life so much so that it interrupts who we are in our day-to-day. But that is pretty much it. That is my life update. You want me to expand on any of those things, I can. If you're journeying with me, go ahead and press like down below. Comment down below to share your thoughts, things that you may want to know, ideas for different things that I can talk about my videos, or things that you just want to see in my day-to-day life, whether it's more of me and my husband together, or what is being a new mom, or you want me to talk about residency application, medical school, whatever. Just let me know down below. Feel free to comment. Thank you guys so much again for just journeying with me, for being here, for watching this all the way through. If you made it, I'm super grateful to be able to be, I'm honored to be able to be in this space. And I pray that you continue to tune in for more videos to come. So I will see y'all next time. Peace. See y'all.